Hello and welcome. You are listening to the Gay with God podcast, a safe place for us to share our stories and support one another. How long did we know? What challenges did we face? Did we lose our faith? When did we find our way back home? Or are we still searching? The stories you hear on this podcast will melt your heart and strengthen your belief that in God, all things are possible, and you can be authentically gay with the God of your understanding. I am your host, Midge Noble, and I am very honored that you are here. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Gay with God podcast. I didn't think we were going to be able to do it today because apparently my computer skills have lost me for a second, and things that I have normally done in a routine of getting things set up and making things work just didn't today. It's probably appropriate that I named this episode, Are You Feeling Blah? Anyway, I am Midge Noble, the host of the Gay with God podcast, and also the author of Gay with God, Reclaiming My Faith, Honoring My Story. You can get my memoir signed and sent to you if you purchase it on my website, gaywithgod.com, but you can also purchase it other places that you get your books, except for brick and mortar places that really just don't take books the way they used to these days because I'm not popular enough. Anyway, so I am Midge Noble. I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad, hopefully, that you can hear me and that I'll be able to post this today. So the question of, are you feeling blah, is something that I really am dealing with at this point in my physical life, in my maybe spiritual life a little bit. When you're not feeling well for a prolonged amount of time, it really does zap your energy. And I could have just not done the podcast today. They're not going to kick me off Podbean. They're not going to, give me a fine for not posting a podcast. But I really do thrive on being in community with you, even though I can't see you and I can't talk to you directly. I know you're there. I know people are listening. And so it gives me a sense of community when I don't feel like going out into the world. I am in community in a way on this format. So I didn't want to just sit here and be blah. I wanted to connect. So whatever the source of your blah feeling might be, and you might be on target, on fire. Well, if you have like tons of excitement and energy right now, you can hit me up on Facebook. You can talk to me on Instagram. You can send me an email at empoweredmidge@gmail.com. I would love to have you tell me, what are you doing in your life that keeps your energy up when there's a lot of negativity swirling around? And maybe if you're not feeling healthy, you don't feel good, and your energy is kind of down, what are you doing? So feel free to let me know. I'll tell you the things, one I told you already, that when I'm doing this podcast, when I run the My Faith Journey group, on Monday evenings. We do that one time a month, and tonight is the night. And I thought about canceling for tonight, but also that group is just so encouraging and helpful, and whether I'm leading it or whether we're just talking as a group of people and we just come up with our own ideas of what to talk about that evening, it's very fulfilling. And it's beautiful, and I love the people in the group. So again, even though I might be feeling a little blah on this Monday, I don't want to miss out on community with you guys, and I don't want to miss out on the community I have with the folks in my faith journey. Yesterday, out of the blue, our besties called us up and said, hey, you want to come out and spend some time with us at Four Saints? That's our local brewery. And we pretty much just dropped everything. We had chicken in the oven, and I sent Beloved over to get there and start having a good time while I waited for the chicken for the dogs. Yes, I'm vegan, but the dogs eat chicken along with their kibble. So I stayed to get all that squared away and to even see if I felt like going, because alcohol at this point in my life is not something I'm doing hardly ever. But they do have some really cool non-alcoholic beers. They don't brew them there at the brewery, but they do service that for some people that need to have that or want that as an option. So that's always a good option. And they have a little slushy thing that they do that tastes really, really good. I'm sure it's full of sugar. I haven't tried it yet, but they do a slushy thing that's also non-alcoholic but tastes really good, apparently, to folks who have tried it. So anyway, so I was in community with my friends last night, and that went really well. So there are things that we can choose to do. Now, if they had not called, I would have been perfectly fine to stay at home and not do anything. I didn't feel like it, didn't want to do anything. But then when they called, it was like, we haven't been together for a while because all of our lives are very complicated right now. And so for them to offer, and there was no way we were turning that down. So we all had a wonderful time and laughed a lot, which is exactly what I needed. We had lots and lots of laughs, and just being there with each other, it was just so much fun, and it just filled me up. Now, all of that is perfectly fine, and all of that has been really, really good. And yet I can't rely on other people to get me out of the blahs, right? I mean, that works, and I know it works, and I can choose to do it, and it is my choice to isolate, and it is my choice to get out of isolation. It's also my choice to look at what's causing the blah feeling. Now, most definitely right now, I've got a couple of things going on. I do still have digestive issues that are pretty chronic right now, and when your gut's not good, nothing is really good. Everything kind of feels off, very low energy, very low ability to eat things that taste really good. Everything is really blah that I eat. And so that's probably part of it. The other part is that I just learned that I need a total shoulder replacement, which is going to take a lot of effort to get done because there are things that I have to jump through, those hoops, that they put you through. And so there's some things that have to be clarified by a couple of doctors that I see, and to make sure I'm a good candidate and that I'm healthy enough to do it. So we'll be going through those types of hoops, and it's not even scheduled yet. That's how far down the how many things I have to do before they'll approve me for surgery. So I'm living in pain every day, and it's not the worst pain that anybody's probably ever had in their lifetime. I'm sure there's some people with chronic pain that is just awful. There are days that I consider mine awful, but I'm sure that there's a scale out there somewhere, and I probably won't be near the top of the pain level, but it does really hamper everything I do, and it hurts pretty much all the time. So I think that when you're sick and when you're hurting, those of you who have ongoing pain issues and chronic pain and ongoing health issues, you're probably understanding this more than other people may understand it, but it's been a journey, and it's lasted for probably all of it together, not just the pain issue, because that's been more recent, but the digestive issues have been pretty much debilitating for a year and a half to almost 2 years, I think, which in the big scope of things, that's not a long time to have a disruption in your life, but it certainly has disrupted my life. I've talked about how much I love participating in church and how I loved reading and I loved serving Eucharist as a Eucharistic minister, and I was able to get my lay preaching license, and then everything went crazy, and I haven't been able to do any of those things consistently. Now, right after I went through the program, I did do some lay preaching at our church. I did it during the training of that because we needed to get in lay preaching hours, but I also did a couple of things after that. When I was actually licensed, I did a Christmas Day sermon, and I did, I think, a couple of healing services where we are able to have a little sermonette during that healing service, and I offered that. And then things got really complicated, and I haven't been able to do, excuse me, any of those things. And I'm just, I guess part of the blah feeling is that when you get off of your routine and all of those other things combined, not feeling well and pain issues, it really starts to create a doubt in your head about whether or not you really are doing enough or doing what you're supposed to do. And this is what I figured out in the last few days, that it has nothing to do with my value as a person. It has everything to do with what my person needs now. So what I need now is to let go and let others take their turn. I actually was going to try to sign up again to go to convention for our diocese because I loved that the last 3 years that I was on the roster to go. And then after 3 years, you come off of that, and then someone else, can choose to take their place. And if nobody chose to take my place, then I could re-sign up and go. But last year was really hard because I did have the digestive issues then, and it was really hard to be there, although I loved every minute of it, even though it was hard. And I really wanted to go again this year if nobody signed up. And so I almost put my name in the pot, but I didn't know what was going to happen with my shoulder, and I wasn't really sure if I could do the job that I would be sent there by my church to do. And so I didn't do it, and then the very next week, people had volunteered to do it, and they're already approved to do it, and there are no slots. I could go as a visitor, but time will tell what's happening with me then, so we'll see what happens. So, that was a little let down, but I also knew that it was probably best because I really needed to take care of myself. And so for us now today, with everything, as I always say, going on in the world, all of the letdowns, all of the breaking newses, all of the drama, and some of us, I think, are physically reacting to what's going on in the world, especially those of us who are more empathic and that we feel everything that everybody else may be able to rise above, but we feel it on a very deep level. I think all of that has a combination of things happening within me and around me. And if we're feeling that feeling of blah, I think I honor it. I honor the moment that I'm in right now to just take a step back, evaluate, and be ready to put my manifesting powers, my energy, my prayers, my spirit out into the world to say, whenever, it is time, I'm ready. Put it out there. I am healthy. I am well. I am excited about jumping back in. There are times that I may not feel like saying that, but there is also a good reason for me to project into the future past my current circumstance, if that makes sense. To imagine, if you will, that I am well and my shoulder is healed and I'm excited and I have found a new passion and I'm ready to embark on that next adventure. Because I do believe that's going to happen. This is not the end of my story, my friends. I'm just feeling particularly blah today. So I want to honor the truth of who I am right now, but I also want to give myself permission to still stay connected, to still do the things I love, to still be a light in somebody's life, even if I don't know it. To assume that I probably am saying something to someone right now that needs to hear this. And I may feel a little uncomfortable sharing it. I may feel a little inappropriate going too deep into my personal stuff. And yet, that's how we connect with each other. And that's how people go, oh my gosh, I can't believe they shared that. And that's exactly what I needed to hear. So if you're in that Blahsville with me and we don't even see each other, but you're sitting there thinking, what's the point? And why should I even try? Because I don't know when I'm ever going to get better. Well, those are perfectly normal thoughts, and thoughts that we get to decide whether we keep or change. So I know enough to know that the world goes round and round, and sometimes we're up and sometimes we're down, and it's always going to roll back around. It's not going to stay this way forever, and it hasn't even been forever. So I want us to choose to look into the future and dream. What do we want it to be like? Who do we want to have lead us? What are they going to be like? How are we going to feel? And how is it going to be when all of this muckety-muck, yucky stuff is gone and we have a fresh start? And our bodies are well, and our strength is back, and we have a renewed purpose that we might not have even noticed had we just stayed in the same routine. But everything that interrupts the reality is an opportunity to do something new and start something over. So if you're with me on that, if you understand what I'm talking about, honor your present time and dream for your future. I want to thank you for honoring me with your presence today and giving me someone to connect with. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I thank you for sharing and subscribing and listening each week so that other people can find this podcast. If you would like to connect with me on a deeper level, you can go to the Gay with God show page at empoweredmidge.podbean.com. You can find a link to purchase the book. You can find a link to have a confidential free session with me as an online coach, and you can find other links there that may be helpful for you. Check out our Facebook group entitled Gay with God, where we do a monthly Zoom group entitled My Faith Journey. If you need support to help you through your coming out and faith journey, it's a good place to land. Not everybody in the group is gay, but most of us are, and we all understand the journeys of trying to come out. We also understand the journey of reclaiming our faith or choosing not to reclaim our faith. All are welcome. So please come if you would like to. If you are listening to this podcast and are questioning whether you can be gay and be in relationship with the God of your understanding, if you identify as LGBTQIA+, are not even sure if you are gay, God has always been within you. Even when you didn't know it, you have always been gay with God. Thank you, everybody. Stay tuned to see how you can join the Gay with God community. And as always, you are loved. I want to invite you to become a part of the Gay with God community. How can you do that? Stay connected by messaging me your thoughts and comments in the comment section under the downloads of the show on the Gay with God show page. Subscribe to this podcast wherever you listen and share so we can increase our community outreach and be a light to those who are struggling to claim their faith. Consider being a sponsor so I can highlight your service in our community. We are all worthy of respect and a relationship with the God of our understanding. I want to thank you in advance for supporting this podcast. Together, we as a community will keep this show visible and our community stronger. Deep gratitude to my friend Tim McClendon of Tim McClendon Music for allowing me to use an excerpt from Interlude 4, a song found on his CD entitled Sundance.